Ever have those mornings where it feels like um, you're just reacting to the chaos? Or maybe days that just kind of blur together because they're so predictable.
Oh, absolutely.
Like you're less in control and more just, going through the motion.
Yeah, that feeling of being swept along, it's really common, isn't it?
Yeah.
Our lives get so full, it's just easy for routines to feel like something that happens to us
Mm-hmm.
rather than something we're, actively shaping.
And that's exactly where our deep dive takes us today. We got this fascinating resource from a listener. It's actually a story from an English language learning platform about this character named Jake.
Okay.
And it follows him as he really takes a look at and, well, fundamentally changes his daily routines.
So this isn't just like a description of someone's schedule then. We're looking at a journey, a transformation.
Precisely. Our aim here is to really dig into Jake's experiences. See what broader lessons we can maybe pull out about building our days, why being able to adapt is so, so crucial,
Right.
and how our routines can actually be this surprising engine for personal growth. We want those moments where things just click for you, those practical insights you can take away, but without it feeling like a lecture.
It's pretty remarkable, actually, how much a simple story about someone's day can illuminate our own habits and our assumptions about routine.
Okay, let's dive straight into Jake's initial situation. The story calls it the morning rush, and it paints a picture I think many of us will recognize immediately.
Mm-hmm.
The alarm goes off at 6:30 a.m., and Jake's first reaction, snooze button.
Classic.
And you know how it goes. Those 10 extra minutes turn into 20, and bam, it's 6:50 a.m. Sound familiar?
The snooze button is such a perfect example of that internal fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
We want to get up, but there's that really powerful pull to just stay put.
Right.
And psychologically, hitting snooze can actually fragment your sleep even more. It can make you feel groggier in the long run.
Exactly. That immediate reward kind of backfires. So the story then describes his hurried morning, brushing his teeth while he's scrolling through his phone,
Oh, yeah.
checking messages, seeing the weather is partly cloudy. It's just that feeling of trying to cram everything in before the day's even really started.
It's interesting, isn't it, how our devices have become so embedded in even the most basic routines. That constant flood of info first thing can really put us in reactive mode before we've even had a chance to, set our own intentions.
He manages a quick run, panting, instantly regretting not eating first.
Yeah, the hunger hits.
And the story adds these great little details. A woman walking her dog, another runner zipping by, the smell of bread baking nearby. It really puts you there.
Those sensory details, they're so good at making it relatable. And they also kind of subtly highlight how the world outside is just carrying on, regardless of Jake's internal chaos and his hunger. Well, it just underscores how important it is to fuel ourselves properly, something we easily skip when we're feeling rushed.
Which brings him to what the story calls his real morning routine, making and eating oatmeal. Peanut butter, banana, cinnamon.
Ah, okay. A bit of calm.
Yeah, he even jokes breakfast of champions. It's like this simple, comforting ritual after all that initial frenzy.
And that contrast is really telling, isn't it? Between the rushed, almost guilty feeling run attempt and then the more deliberate act of making and enjoying breakfast.
Yeah.
It suggests some routines are maybe driven by what we think we should do, while others are just born out of real need and give us that sense of grounding.
Absolutely. And then, bang, the workday looms. We get this quick list, meetings, emails, a video call at 11, that deadline breathing down his neck by 3 p.m.
Right.
It's just a snapshot of a totally typical, packed, modern workday.
Yeah, it sets the stage. You see all the different demands on his time and energy, and you wonder how those pressures are going to play out with his attempts to, get more routine.
Finally, he shuffles off to his tiny home office, sweatpants, messy hair, coffee mug in hand.
The uniform.
Totally. And sends that classic "Good morning, team" message, an image so many of us working from home can just instantly connect with.
That juxtaposition, right? The
Yeah.
casual outfit, the formal greeting, it really highlights how our personal and professional lives have just blurred together and the ways we adapt to keep some sense of workplace normalcy.
And even with that slightly frantic start, as the work messages start pouring in, Jake feels like, okay, the day is officially underway. There's a sense of structure, maybe, even in the chaos that he seems to find some comfort in.
Yes, definitely. Even within that rush, there are familiar markers, right?
Yeah.
A certain predictability in the flow of work that can actually be reassuring. He's kind of moving into known territory, even if it feels a bit hectic.
Okay, so moving into midday madness, things really pick up. Jake's laptop screen is described as a battlefield of open tabs.
Oh, I know that battlefield.
Again, such a powerful image for anyone juggling multiple tasks and, constant streams of information.
That visual, the cluttered screen, it really mirrors the internal mental state so many of us have during a busy day. That constant shifting of attention, it actually depletes our cognitive resources.
Then comes that classic workplace moment. A message from his manager. Got 5 minutes for a quick chat before the client call.
Uh-oh, the quick chat.
Which, of course, stretches from 5 minutes to 15. What's the actual impact of these kinds of interruptions on our routines, our stress levels?
Well, they seem small, right?
Yeah.
But these interruptions can have a pretty significant impact. They break our concentration. They totally disrupt our flow.
Yeah.
And they force us to context switch, which has a real cognitive cost. Over time, these frequent shifts can really add up, contributing to more stress and, honestly, less productivity.
Absolutely. And the whole business on top, comfort on the bottom outfit for the video call, haven't we all basically perfected that look?
It's become the unofficial uniform, hasn't it?
Yeah.
That kind of funny acknowledgement of how we've adapted,
Right.
prioritizing what the camera sees while still grabbing that comfort in our own space.
The client call starts. There's the usual small talk about the weather, that universal icebreaker.
Always the weather.
And then Jake consciously switches into what the story calls professional English mode, using phrases like, "I totally understand where you're coming from."
Yeah, that highlights our ability to sort of code switch, doesn't it? Adapting our communication style based on who we're talking to, the context. It's a deliberate shift in language and tone to seem professional and build rapport.
The call wraps up in just under an hour, and Jake's thought is, 1 down, 2 more to go.
Mm-hmm.
It really captures that feeling of a workday chopped into segments, often marked by meetings or calls. It's almost like just ticking off boxes sometimes.
It speaks to that task-oriented nature of a lot of our work, doesn't it? And the sense of progress, even if it's incremental, that comes with finishing each piece. It can give you that feeling of forward momentum.
Then hunger really kicks in. We get a glimpse inside his fridge, half a pizza, some salad stuff, yogurt, eggs, the usual suspects.
The random collection.
He opts for an omelet and has that super relatable thought, man, I really need to get better at meal prepping. Why do we put off those things that would actually make our lives easier?
That procrastination around things that are good for us, it often comes down to the immediate effort needed versus the payoff later,
Yeah.
Meal prepping takes time and planning up front, and the benefits, well, they're felt later in the week. Our brains just tend to prioritize the immediate rewards.
True. And then comes the part he looks forward to. Not just the food, but the actual pause during lunch. Scrolling social media, that moment to just switch off before diving back in.
Mm-hmm.
Is that actually a helpful break, though? Or does it just keep our minds buzzing?
That's a really interesting point. While it feels like a break, passively scrolling through social media can sometimes keep our minds in this state of low-level alertness. A truly restorative break might involve something else, maybe stepping away from screens completely or doing a totally different kind of activity.
There's a nice little moment where he just looks out the window at this peaceful scene across the street, kids on bikes, a cat napping, someone gardening.
Yeah,
It's a brief escape before the next round, like a little reminder there's a whole other pace of life out there.
exactly. That moment of just observing, it gives you a brief mental detachment from the work pressure, allows for a shift in perspective, reminds you of the world outside your own to-do list.
But the peace is short-lived. Another notification pings, another message, and boom, back to the desk.
Always.
The afternoon brings those really familiar tech frustrations while he's editing a proposal, hunting for where he saved that file. The document loading like molasses, the dreaded program freeze.
Oh, they're freeze.
It's enough to test anyone's patience.
Those tech hiccups are such a common source of frustration, aren't they? They just highlight that even with the best plans, these external things can really mess with our productivity and, honestly, our mood.
He grabs an iced coffee, that little afternoon pick-me-up.
Gotta have it.
And then, wouldn't you know it, another call interrupts. His cheerful, hello, followed by that muttered, just another day, seems to capture that mix of like weary resignation and acceptance.
Sure.
It's like, okay, here we go again, but I'll just roll with it.
The iced coffee is that quest for a little energy boost, right?
Oh,
Keep going.
yeah.
And the just another day bit,
Yeah.
it reflects a certain resilience, maybe? Just acknowledging the ongoing demands of work life.
So, as the workday finally starts winding down, the story shifts to the evening slowdown. Jake's feeling that brain fog, that general tiredness. It's something I think pretty much everyone can relate to after a long day. What's actually happening in our brains when we feel that kind of mental fatigue?
Well, after you've been concentrating hard for hours, your brain experiences a buildup of metabolic byproducts, and your neurotransmitter levels can get depleted.
Ah, okay.
That leads to that feeling of mental exhaustion, makes it harder to focus. It's basically a signal saying, hey, I need some rest and recovery.
The description of the sunlight softening that golden hue in his office, it creates a real sense of transition, doesn't it? That shift from the day's intensity to the evening's calm. It's like the environment itself is signaling, okay, time to change pace.
Those sensory cues are huge. The change in light, maybe quieter sounds outside. They play a really significant role in our circadian rhythms. They signal to our bodies and minds that it's time to wind down, prepare for rest.
That big back stretch he does, cracking sounds included, I think we all just felt that one.
Definitely.
And his thought, man, I need to move more, is pretty universal after a day mostly parked in front of a screen. Why is it so hard to actually prioritize movement during the workday?
Well, we often prioritize tasks that feel more urgent or mentally demanding, right? And moving can feel less critical in the moment. Yeah. But the thing is, sitting for long stretches has real negative health consequences, both physical and mental.
Yeah.
So integrating movement, even just little bits throughout the day, can make a massive difference.
He kicks back on the couch, starts scrolling through texts, plans for Friday drinks, the score of the game, a reminder about his mom's birthday.
Right.
It's that little snapshot of all the social and family stuff that fills our evenings. All those things pulling at our attention outside of work.
Exactly. These messages represent all those different facets of our lives beyond the job, right? The social things, the personal relationships that also need our time and energy. Balancing all that is a key part of feeling fulfilled.
But then he does something really important. He actually puts his phone down, just lets his mind wander.
Good move.
That conscious choice to disconnect from the constant stream, why is that so vital for our mental well-being?
That intentional disconnection, it allows our minds to enter what's sometimes called a state of diffuse thinking. It's where we can process the day, make connections, even stumble upon creative ideas without actively focusing. It's a really vital part of mental recovery, preventing burnout.
He decides to tidy up a bit, puts on some lo-fi music. The story points out the calming effect of this seemingly boring task. It's almost meditative.
Yeah, engaging in simple, repetitive things like cleaning can be really therapeutic. It gives you a sense of accomplishment, and it helps shift your focus away from more demanding mental tasks. It allows for a mental reset.
Lighting a candle, opening the window, these small sensory touches really help create a more peaceful vibe. The smell of grass, a distant barbecue, it really sets the scene for a relaxing evening.
Those intentional actions to engage the senses, smell, light, sound, they can create a much more comforting and calming environment. It further signals that transition from the day's busyness to a more relaxed state.
He changes into comfy clothes and decides, okay, I'm going for a walk around 5:45 p.m. Why is that shift in environment often so good for us at the end of the day?
Changing your environment can give you a fresh perspective, help break the association with the workday. Plus, the physical act of walking releases endorphins, right? Those mood-boosting chemicals that help ease stress.
The streets are quieter now. The sky has that soft orange and pink glow. He notices other people out, joggers, dog walkers, families, an older guy gardening. It's that shared evening ritual in the neighborhood, like we're all collectively winding down in our own ways.
Observing others doing their own evening things can foster a sense of community. Remind us we're all part of this larger social fabric, each with our own way of shifting gears.
That deep breath he takes, and the simple thought, this is nice. It's such a powerful moment of just appreciating the present, isn't it?
Solely.
A reminder to just slow down and notice the good stuff.
That's a moment of mindfulness right there. A conscious acknowledgement of the present moment and the simple pleasures it holds. It's a powerful antidote to the often frantic pace of our lives.
And during his walk, he reflects on what he actually accomplished, even the little things. That little small wins smirk the story mentions is quite endearing. Why is acknowledging those small victories so important?
Recognizing those small wins helps build a sense of self-efficacy, basically feeling capable. It reinforces positive behaviors too, and it can give you a little motivation boost, counteract that tendency we have to only focus on the big, major achievements.
Back home around 7:00 p.m., pajamas on, simple pasta for dinner. It's all about ease and comfort now as the evening unfolds. It's like a deliberate winding down of energy.
Yeah, the comfy clothes, the low-effort meal, it signifies a conscious effort to prioritize relaxation and just minimize demands after a long day.
Eating in front of the TV, watching a familiar comedy show, it's that low-stakes way to unwind without needing too much brain power. Comfort viewing.
Engaging with familiar, light entertainment can be a way to mentally disengage, provides a sense of comfort and predictability. It lets the brain relax without being overly stimulated.
The post-dinner routine, doing the dishes, turning off the kitchen light, the quiet of the apartment, these little rituals kind of signal the end of the active part of the day.
Those small, consistent actions, they create a sense of closure for the day. They prepare the environment for rest, signaling to the mind, okay, time to wind down now.
Curling up with a book, but then falling asleep after just a few pages. A very, very relatable end to the day for so many of us.
Totally. It's the body's way of saying, all right, that's enough, time to rest.
It highlights that natural drive for rest after a full day. Even when we intend to do other things, it's important to listen to those signals.
Definitely.
And the final act, Setting the alarm for 6:30 a.m. again, but with that hopeful thought, maybe I won't hit snooze tomorrow. And then, lights out, day over. That little bit of hope for a better morning.
The setting of the alarm, it signifies that cyclical nature of our routines, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the anticipation of a new day, even with that lingering awareness of past habits and the desire to do better.
Okay, chapter 4 brings us a weekend twist. A shift to routines, but this time with friends. Jake wakes up naturally, no alarm, 9:12 a.m. on Saturday. That glorious feeling.
The best.
No meetings, no emails, just vibes. I think we all crave that feeling of totally unstructured time sometimes.
Oh, for sure. The lack of the alarm, the explicit mention of freedom from work stuff, it immediately signals a different way of being.
Right.
One focused on relaxing and just enjoying things.
The lazy morning involves scrolling social media, confirming brunch plans via text Cafe Luna, 11:30 a.m. It's that slow, easy start that often defines a weekend. A totally different rhythm.
Yeah, the delayed start to the day, the looking forward to social plans, it indicates that shift in priorities towards leisure and connection. A really welcome contrast to the demanding structure of the work week.
He has tea and toast with butter and jam, that classic relaxed weekend breakfast.
Simple pleasures.
And his thought, "This is the life," really captures that sense of simple contentment, just savoring the lack of urgency.
That simple, comforting breakfast, enjoyed at a leisurely pace, it just underscores the difference from those rushed weekday mornings. It allows for a more mindful, enjoyable experience.
Casual weekend clothes, a walk through the park listening to his weekend playlist. It's all about embracing a different vibe, a more relaxed pace. Music is such a great way to set that mood, isn't it?
Totally. The change in clothes, the intentional music choice, they contribute to shifting his mindset, signaling a real departure from the routines and expectations of the work week.
Cafe Luna is bustling. His friends Ella, Mark, and Danny are already outside. Ella teases him about actually being on time.
Yeah.
It's that familiar, lighthearted dynamic you have with close friends. It's part of their social routine, you know?
That social interaction, the familiar banter, it highlights how important connection and shared experiences are in our weekend routines. These established social rituals give us that sense of belonging.
Mark makes a toast to lazy Saturdays.
Mm.
And they order brunch waffles, eggs Benedict, avocado toast with extra avocado, naturally.
Gotta have the extra avocado.
It's their established weekend thing, those little traditions you share with your crew.
The specific food choices, the toast they represent, those shared preferences and established traditions, reinforcing that sense of connection and shared fun among the group.
Conversation's easygoing. Ella teases him again about his abandoned morning run plan, which gets everyone laughing.
Yeah.
It's that effortless flow you get with people you're truly comfortable with, just being present and enjoying the moment.
The relaxed chat, the shared jokes, it emphasizes the ease and comfort of spending time with close friends where you can just be yourself without any pretense.
2 hours of brunch fly by, and apparently no one even looks at their watch. That's the real luxury of a weekend, isn't it? That sense of timelessness when you're just enjoying good company.
That disregard for time, it signifies a complete break from the structured schedules of the work week. It lets you have a more immersive, enjoyable experience of the present moment.
Afterwards, they wander through the weekend market. It's described with such great sensory detail. Handmade jewelry, scented candles, fresh pastries, bright flowers, live music playing, the smell of roasted almonds.
Oh, nice.
It really paints a picture of a relaxed weekend outing, engaging all the senses.
That rich sensory description just drops you right into the experience of a typical weekend market, doesn't it? Highlighting the stimulation and enjoyment you get from that kind of social sensory outing.
Jake buys a little potted plant, and Mark teases him about it, just the kind of gentle ribbing you expect from friends. It's those little interactions that make these moments stick.
The small purchase, the friendly teasing it, adds that touch of lightheartedness and reinforces the comfortable dynamic within the group.
They say their goodbyes around 3 p.m. with hugs and waves, and make a casual plan for coffee next week. It's the continuation of their social routine, that comforting knowledge that you'll connect again soon.
The fond farewells, the plans for next time, it underscores how important consistent social connection is and that anticipation of more shared experiences.
Jake walks home with his new plant and an iced tea, feeling light from the good food, the fresh air, the friendship. It's that wonderful feeling of a truly restorative weekend moment. Feeling refreshed, recharged.
The sensory details of the walk home, that feeling of lightness, it emphasizes the positive impact of the social time and the relaxed pace on Jake's overall well-being.
He puts the plan on his desk when he gets home, and messages start pinging in their group chat.
The debrief.
It's how we kind of extend those shared experiences even after we've parted ways, right? Technology helps keep us connected.
Yeah, that digital interaction after the physical meetup highlights how tech allows us to maintain those connections and extend the feeling of the shared experience beyond the actual event.
Later, relaxing on the couch, he reflects that the day felt solid, real. It's that sense of genuine connection and rest, a feeling of authenticity, maybe.
That feeling of the day being solid and real, it emphasizes the authentic, grounding nature of that weekend routine with friends. Maybe a contrast to the more transactional interactions of the work week.
He looks out the window, just thinking about weekend routines. And then, the ultimate sign of weekend relaxation, closes his eyes for a Saturday nap.
Pure bliss.
Right.
The contemplation of weekend routines and then just deciding to nap it signifies that complete surrender to leisure and rest, a really key element of work-life balance and just fully recharging.
Okay, Chapter 5 hits us with an unexpected Monday, completely blowing up the usual routine. Instead of that gradual start, Jake is jolted awake at 6:20 a.m., phone buzzing nonstop.
Oh no, not the way to start Monday.
That's a surefire way to start the day, with a massive jolt of stress.
Yeah, the abrupt interruption of the typical Monday morning really highlights the unpredictable nature of life and work. Forces an immediate shift from your routine into crisis management mode.
Missed calls, frantic messages from Sam, his team lead, the company chat blowing up about a critical issue with a client project upload. You can almost feel the panic wash over him.
Right.
Those kinds of emergencies can just derail even the best laid plans.
The urgency in the messages, the high stakes of the problem, a client-facing tech failure, it immediately ramps up the pressure and demands immediate focused action.
Jake's reaction is instant, skips everything, no morning rituals, just a mad dash to the laptop.
All hands on deck.
It's all hands on deck. When you're faced with a crisis, the routine often just goes straight out the window.
The complete abandonment of the usual morning stuff just underscores how severe the situation is and how the immediate crisis gets prioritized over everything else.
He spends the next couple of hours as a digital firefighter. I love that term.
It's good, isn't it?
Frantically trying to fix the upload issue, constant back and forth with Sam and IT. The intensity of that kind of problem solving under pressure is immense.
That digital firefighter analogy, it vividly conveys that fast-paced problem-solving mode he's thrust into, relying on his tech skills, quick thinking, all under serious time pressure.
Finally, around 9:45 a.m., it's resolved. That dramatic exhale the story mentions, we can all picture that moment of just pure relief after a super high-stress situation.
The resolution brings that huge sense of relief, a return to a less critical state, but Yeah, the morning's disruption has definitely had a huge impact on the rest of his planned day.
He catches his reflection, looking all disheveled, and mutters, "This is not how champions look." It's a little bit of humor in the aftermath, right? Acknowledging the toll that unexpected morning took.
That humorous comment, it gives a moment of lightness, acknowledges the contrast between his usual composed self and his current state after the chaos.
He tries to reset Splash's cold water on his face, has a little chuckle about finally being fully awake. It's a small attempt to regain some sense of normalcy after that frantic start.
The attempt to physically and mentally reset, it signifies that desire to regain some balance, a recognition that he needs to shift gears after that intense morning.
His carefully planned routine, his Monday to-do list, completely out the window now. It's that feeling of having to just toss your original plans and start over from scratch.
That disruption really highlights the inherent fragility of even well-established routines when unexpected things happen. And it underscores how critical adaptability is in navigating those situations.
He improvises a quick breakfast toast, and eggs then just kind of regroups on the couch. It's a much more low-key, less structured approach than his usual Monday. He's basically in damage control mode.
The simplified breakfast, the change of location to regroup it, indicates a need for comfort, maybe. A less rigid approach to the morning, allowing for a mental reassessment of the day ahead.
He gets a check-in message from Ella, and his reply about needing donuts is just a perfect little snippet of how friends offer support, even amidst work chaos.
Yeah.
It's that human connection that can really help us through those tough moments.
The friend's message, Jake's lighthearted response, it underscores the value of social support, the comfort you find in keeping those connections, even during stressful times.
He takes a slow walk around the block to try and reset, just observing the quiet neighborhood. It's a deliberate act, seeking calm, a change of scene after the stressful morning. Why is stepping away from the source of stress often so helpful?
Stepping away gives you psychological and physical distance from the stressful thing. It provides an opportunity to clear your head, reduce that immediate tension, maybe gain a broader perspective.
Back home, he tries to create a more calming work environment, lights a candle, puts on some instrumental music, intentional efforts to soothe the lingering stress, create a more focused atmosphere.
The conscious creation of a more tranquil workspace highlights that understanding that our environment can really impact our mood and productivity, especially after something disruptive.
He approaches his emails with a slower, more patient attitude, a real contrast to the frantic pace of the morning. It's a deliberate shift in energy.
That shift in approach reflects a conscious effort to regain control, adopt a more measured pace after the initial urgency, trying to prevent feeling overwhelmed again.
Lunch is a simple grilled cheese while watching travel vlogs, a further move towards comfort and maybe a bit of mental escapism.
Yeah.
It's about seeking out something enjoyable and low pressure.
The comfort food, the escapism of the travel vlogs, they provide further ways to relieve stress, give him a temporary mental break from the lingering effects of the morning's crisis.
And then he has that really key insight, which he actually jots down as today's lesson. Sometimes you don't follow the routine. Sometimes the routine follows you.
Oh, that's good.
That's a powerful takeaway, isn't it? About needing to adapt. The fact that life doesn't always stick to our neat little plans.
That lesson, it beautifully sums up the central theme of the chapter, the importance of flexibility. The understanding that our routines need to be adaptable to the unpredictable nature of life.
The tired team has a check-in call later, and they share some humor about the rough morning. That sense of camaraderie, that shared experience, it can be really helpful in processing stressful stuff.
That team interaction, the shared humor, it provides a sense of solidarity. It normalizes the experience of unexpected disruptions, fosters that feeling of, okay, we're all in this together.
By the end of the day, he managed to handle what was absolutely necessary, even though he wasn't as productive as he'd planned. It's an acceptance of a day that just didn't go according to script. Sometimes just getting through it is a win, right?
The acknowledgement of not hitting typical productivity levels, it reflects a realistic self-assessment and a shift in focus maybe from maximizing output to simply managing the situation and prioritizing what was essential.
He orders takeout Thai noodles for dinner and has a relaxed evening, deliberately not checking his phone constantly.
Smart move.
A conscious effort to prioritize rest and disengagement after a really demanding day.
The choice of takeout, the intentional avoidance of work tech, it further emphasizes that need for complete relaxation and mental recovery in the evening.
And finally, he goes to bed without setting an alarm. Just surrendering to rest, looking forward to a fresh start. It's a sense of letting go of the day's stresses, trusting his body's natural rhythms.
That decision to skip the alarm, it symbolizes a complete release of the day's pressures, an embrace of natural sleep patterns, allows for a truly restorative rest.
Okay, chapter 6 dives into conversations that stick how we talk about our day. Jake wakes up a bit later than usual, no alarm pressure, and pointedly ignores a dentist appointment reminder, clearly not top priority right now.
Priorities. The later wake-up, the selective ignoring of a less urgent task, it signals that shift towards a more self-directed, less rigidly scheduled start to the day.
His attention turns to recent conversations he's had, thinking about how we all talk about our daily lives, our routines. He notices those unique little details people share. And he wants to reflect on these to maybe gain a better understanding of himself and others too. Why do we tend to focus on these small details when we recount our day?
Those small details often reveal much more about our emotional state, our individual experiences, than just the big picture of our activities. They're the textures, the nuances that make our days unique, memorable.
Tea in hand, his friend Mark gives him a call. Their chat quickly turns to their interesting Mondays, the usual routine chaos.
The Monday debrief.
There's that immediate connection through shared experiences of the work week. It's a way of validating each other's experiences, isn't it?
Definitely. That immediate bonding over a tough Monday highlights the social function of these conversations, finding common ground, offering empathy, feeling less alone in our struggles.
Mark shares a very relatable story about being late for a meeting because he couldn't find his shoes.
Oh, I've been there.
It's often those small, unexpected things that can throw our whole morning off. It's rarely the big things that trip us up, is it?
It's often the minor, unforeseen obstacles that have a disproportionate impact on our routines and our stress. These small disruptions can feel particularly frustrating because they seem so easily avoidable in theory, but they catch us off guard.
And Jake makes a really insightful point. It's usually the little things that really get to you, the cumulative effect of these minor annoyances that can wear us down.
Exactly. It's not always the major crises, but that constant drip, drip, drip of small frustrations that could erode our sense of well-being, make our routines feel more like a burden.
Mark admits he feels kind of stuck in a loop with his routine, feels like he might be missing something. That sense of being on autopilot, wondering if there's more to life than just the daily grind.
That feeling of being in a rut is such a common experience, especially when routines become too rigid or when we lose sight of the purpose, the meaning behind our daily activities. It signals a need for maybe reevaluation, some intentional change.
So Jake suggests that instead of just talking about what we did each day, maybe we should check in with ourselves more, talk about how the day actually felt.
That's a really important distinction.
Yeah, it shifts the focus from just actions to our internal experience.
That shift in focus from just recounting activities to exploring the emotional landscape of our day, it allows for a much deeper understanding of our relationship with our routines and our overall well-being.
Mark seems to get this, and Jake gives examples talking about the stress of a deadline or a small win at work or even just a moment of peace he felt. It's about adding that emotional layer to our daily stories.
These examples illustrate how weaving our feelings into conversations about our day can provide more meaningful insights and foster deeper connections with others, too.
Jabe shares how he talked to Ella about his own morning routine, including feeling rushed and that internal struggle with the snooze button.
Right.
It's about being a bit vulnerable, sharing the less polished parts of our days.
Sharing the internal experience of our routines, including those vulnerabilities, those imperfections, it makes our conversations more relatable. It fosters a stronger sense of connection.
Mark agrees, admitting he often gets the impression everyone else has these perfect, seamless routines.
Oh, that comparison trap.
It's that common feeling, right? Comparing our own messy reality to everyone else's highlight reel.
Yeah, it highlights that pervasive tendency we have to compare our internal experiences with the external presentations of others. Often leads to that inaccurate idea that everyone else has it all figured out.
And Jake reassures him, look, nobody's routine is actually perfect. Sharing our imperfections is what actually helps us connect on a more human level. It's finding common ground in our shared struggles.
That reinforces the idea that embracing imperfection, sharing our vulnerabilities, it can break down that illusion of perfect routines and lead to more authentic, meaningful connections.
Mark says he really needed to hear that. It's just a testament to the power of open, honest conversation about our everyday lives. Sometimes just knowing you're not alone and feeling a certain way is incredibly validating.
This acknowledgement just underscores the value of honest conversations in validating our own experiences, challenging those often unrealistic expectations we put on ourselves and others.
Their conversation then shifts to Mark's Saturday walk routine and how he ended up oversleeping and missing it. It shows that even our weekend routines can have their hiccups. They don't always go to plan either.
It illustrates that the struggles with routine aren't just confined to the work week, right? Even our leisure activities can be subject to our intentions versus our actual behavior.
Jake's final realization in this chapter is that those conversations about the small, seemingly insignificant things, they actually give meaning to our daily moments. And ultimately, they shape who we are. It's about finding the significance in the everyday details.
That emphasizes the profound idea that our daily routines and how we talk about them, they aren't trivial at all. They're integral to our sense of self, our understanding of the world around us.
The chapter ends with Jake deciding to text Danny, wanting to talk more about their routines being more than just the stuff we do. It's that desire for a deeper connection, a more profound understanding of how we actually structure our lives.
That proactive outreach signifies a commitment to exploring the deeper meaning of routines and fostering that understanding through connection and shared reflection with others.
Okay, chapter 7 shifts focus to finding balance, how to keep your routine fresh. Jerry's feeling pretty content as another regular workday ends, but there's this little nagging feeling underneath.
The underlying worry.
Yeah, this worry that his routine might be getting a bit too predictable, maybe lacking that spark, that feeling of being in a bit of a rut again.
That acknowledges the inherent tension, doesn't it? Between the comfort and stability of routine and that human need for novelty, for stimulation, to stay engaged and not feel stagnant.
Right. He starts thinking, okay, I need to introduce something new, glances at his calendar, and then, like perfect timing, Donnie texts him, suggesting they grab coffee the next morning, specifically to break her routine. It's almost like the universe was listening.
That serendipitous moment. It highlights that shared human desire to shake things up sometimes
Hmm.
and the potential for supporting each other in introducing changes to our patterns.
Jake agrees to meet at 9 a.m., and Donnie mentions she's looking for advice on her workout routine. This leads Jake to admit, yeah, actually, I'm feeling a bit stuck with my exercise routine, too.
Ah, okay.
There's that shared vulnerability in admitting they're both kind of in a rut.
That mutual acknowledgement of being in a routine rut, it creates a foundation of shared experience, opens the door for brainstorming together, mutual encouragement.
Jake remembers reading about the importance of incorporating change, and he jots down some bullet points. Start small, switch up the time of day you do things, learn something new, change your physical surroundings, mix in social activities.
Those are really practical, actionable ideas.
Yeah, great tips for anyone looking to refresh their day-to-day without it feeling overwhelming.
Yeah, that list provides a tangible, manageable framework for listeners wanting to add variety without feeling like they have to make huge, drastic changes.
So at the cafe the next morning, after just sitting comfortably for a bit, Donnie confesses she's just really bored with her current workout. Same old squats, lunges, push-ups.
Oh, yeah, the monotony.
That feeling of monotony can just kill motivation, can it?
It illustrates a really common challenge in keeping up exercise routines, that lack of novelty, and the resulting drop in enthusiasm and sticking with it.
Jake shares his own recent experiences, making small tweaks, doing stretches in the park instead of at home, going for an early jog on a different route. He's showing that you don't need massive changes to feel a difference.
By sharing his personal examples, Jake makes those abstract ideas about refreshing routines more relatable. He demonstrates that even small adjustments can inject new energy into existing habits.
He suggests Donnie might try adding some yoga classes, or maybe even a dance class, into her week, offering concrete, potentially enjoyable alternatives.
It's about finding something that feels engaging, right?
Those suggestions offer diverse options, catering to different interests, different fitness levels, encourages Donnie to explore things that might provide both the physical benefits and a greater sense of fun.
Donnie expresses some initial hesitation about dance. Oh, I don't know. But she's also open to considering it.
Yeah.
It shows that process of weighing something new, that initial resistance before maybe embracing change.
Donnie's reaction reflects that common initial apprehension when you're faced with something unfamiliar. But it's balanced by a willingness to consider the potential benefits of stepping outside her comfort zone.
Jake then shares some other ways he's been shaking up his own routine, working from different spots in his apartment, making a more conscious effort to read for pleasure each day. Again, highlighting those small but significant shifts. By sharing a wider range of examples, Jake reinforces the idea that refreshing your routine can cover various aspects of life, not just exercise, and that small, intentional changes can have a noticeable impact.
They both recognize that feeling of gradually falling into these repetitive cycles without even realizing it sometimes, and that mutual desire for a little plot twist in their days.
Yeah.
That shared longing for something a bit unexpected.
The plot twist analogy, it effectively captures the human desire for novelty, a break from the predictable nature of routines, a longing for something to just disrupt the expected flow.
So they make a pact, each try something new each week, and hold each other accountable for sticking to it.
Ah, the accountability pact.
The power of having that support system when you're trying to make changes.
That pact highlights the significant role social accountability can play in fostering behavioral change, maintaining motivation to try new things.
Danny agrees enthusiastically, and they make a plan to check in weekly to see how their routine refresh is going. It's like a structured approach to breaking free from rigid structures.
The planned check-ins provide that framework for ongoing support, encouragement, maybe some problem solving as they navigate introducing new activities.
The chapter ends with Jake feeling this sense of lightness, a renewed sense of possibility, thinking about new things he can add to his days. He realizes that creativity is actually a key part of unlocking a more vibrant routine.
Yeah.
It's about being intentional and innovative in how we live our lives.
That concluding thought really emphasizes the active role we can play in shaping our routines, and the idea that a creative, experimental mindset is essential for long-term engagement and a sense of vitality in our daily lives.
Okay, chapter 8. This one is all about the power of reflection, looking back to move forward. A few weeks have passed since Jake and Donnie made that pact, and he's sitting at his desk reflecting on the changes. He actually feels different, better.
Ah, that's great. A tangible result.
Yeah, a tangible result of those conscious efforts.
The explicit acknowledgement of feeling different and better. It provides that positive reinforcement for the strategies they used and underscores the potential for personal growth, increased well-being.
He's been consistent, trying something new each week. Some small things like switching his morning tea or working in a different room. And some bigger things like that cooking class he took, exploring new walking routes. It's a mix of minor tweaks and more significant explorations.
That demonstrates a balanced, sustainable approach to introducing change, doesn't it? Incorporating both subtle variations in daily habits and more significant new experiences that broaden his horizons.
And these changes haven't just added a bit of excitement, they've actually made his underlying routine feel more like a supportive foundation rather than a rigid constraint.
That's a really significant shift in perspective.
Isn't it?
That shift from seeing routine as restrictive to seeing it as a stable base that supports exploration and growth is a crucial outcome of intentional routine management.
He really emphasizes how important it is to take the time to reflect on these changes, and he actually opens his notebook. This act of intentional review is so crucial for learning from our experiences, making further adjustments.
The deliberate act of writing and reflecting underscores the value of self-assessment in understanding the impact of changes, identifying what's working, and pinpointing areas for further development.
His what's worked list includes practical things, switching up his workspace, making sure he takes regular breaks, learning that new skill in the cooking class, concrete examples of positive changes he's noticed.
Those specific examples provide tangible evidence of the benefits of the routine refreshment strategies they discussed and offer practical inspiration for the listener too.
But he also realizes there are still things he needs to focus on, which shows that personal growth is an ongoing process, right? Reflection helps us identify those next steps.
The recognition of areas needing further attention highlights that routine management isn't a one-time fix. It's an iterative process needing continuous self-awareness and adjustment.
His what I need to focus on list includes things like being more consistent with those new habits he started, learning to embrace the less exciting, maybe boring moments of the day.
Oh yeah, the boring bits.
And making more of an effort to connect with others. These are more nuanced insights about the ongoing maintenance of a fulfilling routine.
Those points address the ongoing challenges, don't they? Sustaining new habits, accepting the inevitable, less glamorous parts of daily life, and recognizing the vital role of social connection and overall well-being.
And his biggest realization, his routines aren't just about his own individual tasks and goals. They're also fundamentally about connecting with the wider world, the people in his life.
Ah, that's a great insight.
It's that shift from a purely self-focused approach to a more outward-looking perspective.
That broader perspective emphasizes that our routines aren't just about personal productivity, but are also deeply intertwined with our relationships, our sense of belonging within a larger community.
He specifically thinks about shifting his focus from I to we. That's a pretty profound insight about the interconnectedness of our experiences, how our routines can facilitate those connections.
That shift underscores the idea that a truly fulfilling routine integrates our individual needs with our social connections, our engagement with the world around us.
He notes that the moments that have truly energized him recently, they've been the ones shared with others, that coffee with Donnie, conversations with Mark, even just a brief chat with a coworker. It really reinforces how important those social interactions are for our overall well-being.
It reinforces the critical role of social interaction in a well-rounded, energizing routine. Connecting with others provides support, perspective, a sense of shared experience.
The chapter concludes with Jake feeling this sense of peace, a greater sense of being present in his day-to-day life, feeling like he's actively shaping his days rather than just being swept along. It's about taking agency, being intentional.
That concluding feeling of peace and presence signifies the positive emotional outcomes of conscious routine management, the empowerment that comes from actively participating in creating your own daily life.
Okay. Chapter 9 dives into the power of flexibility, adapting your routine to life surprises. It's a rainy Wednesday morning, throws a wrench in Jake's plans, urgent client call scheduled for 8 a.m., totally disrupting his intended start.
The curveball.
How important is it to actually build in some buffer, some flexibility into our routines, knowing unexpected stuff will inevitably happen?
Oh, building in flexibility isn't just helpful, it's essential. Absolutely essential for long-term routine sustainability and for our mental well-being too. Life is inherently unpredictable, right?
Yeah.
And rigid routines can lead to way more stress, feelings of failure when those unexpected things pop up. Having a mindset and maybe even some planned strategies for adapting lets us navigate those surprises more effectively.
His initial reaction is that sinking feeling, oh no, but it's followed quickly by a more pragmatic thought, well, I guess I'll have to adapt. That moment of acceptance, shifting gears, is so important, isn't it? Resisting the unexpected just adds to the stress.
That internal acceptance is such a crucial first step. Resisting reality, clinging to your original plans when something unexpected hits, it just creates unnecessary mental friction. Embracing the need to adapt lets you conserve energy and focus on finding solutions.
He quickly gets himself ready for the call, even has to skip his usual breakfast. It's a clear demonstration of reprioritizing an action when faced with something urgent. Sometimes you just have to make those trade-offs.
Exactly. Flexibility often involves making choices, shifting priorities based on new information or urgent needs. It's about being able to assess the situation and adjust accordingly, even if it means temporarily deviating from your usual habits.
What's interesting, though, is that he actually feels a surprising sense of calm during the call, despite previous experiences where unexpected work days caused him way more stress.
Interesting.
It seems like he's learning to handle these disruptions with more ease. What do you think contributed to that shift?
It's likely a mix of things. His previous experiences have probably built some resilience.
Yeah.
Also, having consciously worked on his routines and really embraced the idea of flexibility in general has likely equipped him with a more adaptable mindset.
Right.
He's learning that unexpected events don't necessarily have to derail his entire day or send him spiraling.
After the call, he efficiently adjusts his schedule for the rest of the day, reprioritizing tasks to accommodate the unexpected meeting. That ability to quickly reorganize, get back on track, it's a key skill in navigating a busy life.
That efficient adjustment demonstrates improved organizational skills, doesn't it? A proactive approach to managing his time, even after a significant disruption, shows he's not just reacting, but actively reshaping his day.
He ends up having an impromptu video call with Sam later, and they actually chat about the unpredictability of life, how often routines get disrupted.
Ah, the shared commiseration.
It's a shared acknowledgement that this is just a common experience. There's comfort in knowing you're not alone in these kinds of situations.
That shared conversation with Sam provides that external validation, reinforces the understanding that dealing with unexpected disruptions is a normal part of life and work,
Yeah.
helps normalize the experience, reduce feelings of frustration or isolation.
Jake even asks Sam about those days where absolutely nothing goes according to plan, but somehow things still manage to turn out okay in the end.
Yeah.
It's that reframing of unexpected events, looking for the potential positive outcomes even when things go sideways.
That question reflects a developing sense of optimism, maybe, a growing understanding that even when our plans get derailed, it doesn't necessarily lead to negative outcomes. There can be unexpected opportunities or just a different path forward that emerges.
Sam shares a similar experience, mentions he's learned to just go with it and adjust as needed. It's that attitude of acceptance and adaptability that seems really key here. Being like water, right?
Right.
Finding a new path around obstacles.
Exactly. Embracing a more fluid approach, being willing to adapt to circumstances is such a valuable skill, both in managing daily routines and in navigating the broader challenges of life.
Jake then realizes that flexibility has actually become a really important part of his new routine. It's no longer just about rigidly sticking to a schedule, but about having the capacity, the mindset to bend when necessary. That's a really insightful way to think about it, flexibility as a core component of a sustainable routine.
This is a crucial insight that flexibility isn't the opposite of routine, but rather a vital ingredient for a resilient, long-lasting one. Planning for the unexpected, in a way, becomes part of the routine itself.
He comes to understand that people who are successful aren't necessarily those with the most rigid routines, but maybe those who can adapt effectively without losing their overall focus. It's about maintaining your direction while being able to navigate detours.
This connects the ability to adapt to a broader concept of success, highlighting its importance in navigating the complexities and uncertainties of both personal and professional life.
Despite the morning chaos, Jake actually feels a sense of accomplishment by the end of the day. Realizing he's learned something from the experience. That's a great example of a growth mindset, isn't it? Finding the learning opportunity even in disruption.
The feeling of accomplishment, despite the initial setback, underscores the personal growth that comes from successfully navigating unexpected challenges, extracting valuable lessons from those experiences.
He reflects that routines are really about building a solid foundation, one that allows us to handle life's inevitable surprises without completely falling apart, like having a strong base that can withstand a bit of turbulence.
That is a powerful way to frame the purpose of routines, not as restrictive structures, but as supportive frameworks, providing stability while allowing for adaptation and resilience when faced with the unexpected.
His evening plans include some reading, but he's intentionally leaving some space for spontaneity. It's that balance, right? Having some structure while also being open to whatever might come up. That's the sweet spot.
The deliberate inclusion of planned activities alongside an openness to spontaneity represents a healthy balance, allowing for both a sense of groundedness and the opportunity to embrace unexpected moments of joy or connection.
The chapter concludes with Jake's thought. Flexibility is the key, and his feeling of being more ready to face whatever surprises might come his way. It's a sense of empowerment, increased confidence in his ability to handle the unpredictable nature of life.
That concluding thought encapsulates the central message of the chapter, reinforces the importance of adaptability as a key skill for navigating life's uncertainties with greater ease and resilience.
Okay, Chapter 10. This marks routine reinvented How to create the best version of your day. Jake wakes up on a Sunday morning feeling genuinely excited, having really embraced these principles of flexibility and intention in his routines.
That's a great sign.
It's a great sign when you're actually looking forward to your day, isn't it?
That sense of anticipation underscores the positive shift in his relationship with his routines, moving from something he felt bound by to something he actively creates and enjoys.
Step 1. Morning clarity. He's now waking up around 6 a.m., spending about 15 minutes in quiet reflection by the window, practicing gratitude, journaling about his focus and priorities for the day. It's a deliberate, mindful way to start. How powerful can those initial quiet moments be in setting the tone for the whole day?
Oh, those initial moments of quiet can be incredibly powerful. They let us transition from sleep to wakefulness with intention, set our mental focus, cultivate a sense of gratitude, which can positively influence our mood and productivity all day long.
Step 2. A nourishing breakfast. He's making a point of preparing a healthy breakfast, eating it slowly, mindfully, really savoring the food. It's about prioritizing his well-being, being present, even during something as simple as eating.
This step highlights that connection between physical health and mental focus. Eating mindfully lets us better nourish our bodies, and it can also contribute to a greater sense of calm and well-being.
Step 3. Morning movement. He's incorporated a 30-minute yoga session into his mornings. Finds it both relaxing and energizing. A way to connect with his body, prepare himself physically and mentally.
Integrating regular physical activity, like yoga, into the morning routine can have so many benefits. Reduce stress, increase energy levels, improved focus.
Step 4. A focused work session. With a clearer mind, priorities set in his journal, he's able to really focus on the most important tasks for his work, that client presentation, his check-in with Donnie, some dedicated reading time. It's about working with intention, minimizing distractions.
This step emphasizes the importance of clarity and focused attention for productive work. By setting priorities, minimizing distractions, he's able to work more effectively with a greater sense of purpose.
Step 5. Midday recharge. He's making time for a walk in the park during his lunch break. On one particular day, he has an unplanned but really enjoyable chat with a neighbor, Sarah.
Oh, nice.
It highlights the value of those spontaneous connections, the importance of stepping away from work.
This underscores the need for breaks throughout the day to maintain energy and focus. And the unplanned social interaction reminds us of the value of connecting with our community, the unexpected joys that can pop up.
Step 6. Evening reflection. He's made it a habit now. Wind down in the evening with tea, review his journal, ask himself, okay, what went well today? What did I learn? How might I approach things differently tomorrow? It's a practice of continuous self-assessment and growth.
This emphasizes the ongoing process of learning and adjustment through regular self-reflection. By evaluating his day, he's able to identify patterns, celebrate successes, make conscious choices for the future.
Step 7. Ending the day with intention. As he gets into bed, he feels calm, content, grateful for the day, looking forward to continued growth. It's about ending the day with a sense of peace, positive anticipation.
This final step highlights the importance of concluding the day with a positive, reflective mindset, which can contribute to better sleep, set a positive tone for the following day.
The chapter wraps up with this overarching message. Creating the best version of your day isn't about some rigid, unattainable ideal. It's about building an authentic, flexible, intentional routine that brings you joy, supports your overall well-being.
Yeah.
It's a journey of self-discovery, finding what works best for you.
That concluding message beautifully synthesizes the key elements of Jake's reinvented routine, emphasizes the balance between structure, adaptability, mindful engagement with the present moment. all geared towards creating a more fulfilling daily experience.
And finally, Chapter 11 looks at the long-term power of routines, how to keep evolving and growing. Months after consciously working on his daily habits, Jake's reflecting again. He realizes routines aren't just about managing your day. They're really about building a life that continuously evolves alongside you.
This long-term perspective, it highlights that routines aren't static sets of rules, right? They're dynamic frameworks that should adapt to our changing needs, our goals, our circumstances over time.
The evolution of his routine. He reflects on how he started with those small, manageable changes and gradually developed a deeper understanding of their profound impact on his overall well-being. He's moved away from the idea of perfection, now focusing on building momentum, embracing adaptability as core principles. It's a journey of ongoing refinement, ongoing learning.
That emphasizes the iterative nature of routine development, moving from initial experiments and small wins to a more nuanced understanding of personal needs and the importance of sustained effort and flexibility for long-term success.
The power of reflection. He's made reflection a regular practice, not as self-criticism, but as an act of self-compassion, a tool for making course corrections when needed, and also for celebrating his progress, his small victories. It's about learning and growing with kindness towards himself.
This reinforces the crucial role of self-assessment in identifying areas for improvement and acknowledging progress, fostering a growth mindset in relation to personal routines, cultivating a more compassionate inner dialogue.
Growth beyond the routine. What's really significant is how these conscious routines have started to fuel growth in other areas of his life. He's picked up new skills, strengthened connections with friends, even started taking weekend trips.
Wow.
His routines have become a springboard for experiences that extend far beyond his daily work and home life. It's like having that solid base allows you to branch out more confidently.
That highlights the idea that well-managed routines can create the space, the energy, the mental clarity needed for pursuing new interests, nurturing relationships, expanding your horizons beyond the immediate demands of daily obligations.
Yeah, building momentum. He's noticing the compounding effect of those small, consistent habits he's been cultivating. They're leading to increased energy, greater productivity during focused work, an overall boost in confidence.
Yeah.
It's that idea that small, consistent actions can lead to significant long-term benefits that just ripple through your life.
This underscores the power of consistency. The idea that even seemingly insignificant habits, when practiced regularly, can accumulate over time to produce substantial positive outcomes in various aspects of our lives, creates a powerful sense of forward progress.
A future of possibilities. He realizes that by taking control of his daily routines, he's actually created more space in his life for bigger dreams, bigger aspirations. Things like starting a side business, planning travel, maybe even mentoring others.
Fantastic.
His daily actions are now more aligned with his long-term vision. It's like his routine has become a vehicle for achieving those bigger goals.
This final point emphasizes the profound potential of intentional routines to support the pursuit of long-term goals, to create a life that is more deeply aligned with your values, your passions, your aspirations for the future.
The chapter ends with Jake feeling genuinely excited about what lies ahead, knowing that the routines he's built will continue to support him through future challenges, periods of growth. It's a sense of optimism, a belief in his own capacity for ongoing development.
That concluding feeling of excitement and preparedness signifies the empowering nature of a well-established, adaptable routine in facing future uncertainties with confidence, embracing personal evolution as a continuous process.
So, as we kind of bring this deep dive into Jake's journey to a close, a few really key lessons have emerged, haven't they? It's not just about having a routine, it's about being really intentional in how you create it.
Right.
Adaptable when life inevitably throws curveballs, and reflective about how it's actually impacting your well-being, your growth. Ultimately, a well-crafted routine can be this surprisingly powerful foundation for living a more fulfilling, dynamic life.
Exactly. Jake's experiences presented in this really accessible story, they offer incredibly valuable insights into the dynamic relationship we all have with our daily structures, and the remarkable potential for positive change through conscious effort, through self-awareness.
And for you, our listener, who tuned in, maybe hoping to gain some knowledge quickly but thoroughly, maybe experience a few of those aha moments. I hope Jake's evolution has sparked some thoughts. What aspects of his journey resonated most with you? Were there particular challenges he faced or solutions he found that kind of mirror your own experiences?
Maybe consider how Jake's perspective on routine shifted over time, moving from feeling controlled by those chaotic mornings to actively shaping his days with intention, flexibility, a real sense of purpose. What small steps could you take to foster a similar sense of agency in your own life?
And here's a final thought to really chew on. What's one small, maybe even tiny adjustment you could make to your own daily routine starting today? Something that might bring you just a little more balance, a little more personal growth, or maybe even just a little more joy in your day. It doesn't have to be a massive overhaul, just one small, deliberate step in the direction you want to go.